You ever have one of those moments watching Emmerdale where you just say to yourself, "Oh no, not again"? Yeah. That was me Thursday night. Robert Sugden. Spanner in hand. Fury in his eyes. It was like watching history repeat itself. And not the good kind. The second that spanner came into frame, every fan who's stuck by this show for years must have felt that same tight knot in their stomach. Because we've been here before. We know what Robert's capable of when he snaps. And this time, the victim wasn't some stranger or enemy. It was his own half-brother, John. So let's talk about what's next. The fallout, the spoilers, and the sheer mess that's about to hit the Sugden family like a freight train. Because if you thought Robert's prison time had changed him, you might want to think again. Robert's breakdown, is he losing it again? Right, so first things first, John's not dead. He's in hospital stable. But emotionally, physically, the bloke's taken a wallop, and it's no small thing. Now, here's where things get murky. Spoilers suggest John isn't snitching. Either he's pretending not to remember who hit him, or he genuinely doesn't know. Personally, I reckon it's a bit of both. John's always had that smug, calculating edge to him. He's no angel. But maybe, just maybe, he's letting Robert stew in the guilt. That alone might be punishment enough. Still, this whole mess brings up something we haven't really seen in Robert for a while. That explosive temper. Fans who've been around since the Lee Posner storyline will remember how raw, violent and tragic that arc was. Watching Victoria crumble, Aaron try to hold everything together, and Robert spiral into revenge, it was painful. So, to see him swing back into that place, even for a second, it's honestly a bit heartbreaking, because it means he's still carrying it. That rage. That trauma. And no matter how much time he's served, it never really left him. The fallout, who's taking sides now? So here's where things get sticky. After the attack, Robert bolts. Classic move, right? Pack a bag, vanish. But it's not like he can run far. Not in a village like this where secrets last about 5 minutes. And this is where Aaron comes into play. Spoilers say he and Robert meet up for coffee. And honestly, that one line alone gave me whiplash. After everything, Aaron's still in his life. Still speaking to him. That tells us something. No matter how fractured things got between them. And they did get ugly. There's still a bond. It's not romance, not yet anyway, but it's something. And that, for Robert, might be the thing that keeps him from spiraling again. Aaron's caught in the middle though. John's trying to butter him up, telling him to go easy on Robert. Very convenient, coming from someone who just blew up Robert's life days ago. And let's not forget, John's been messing about behind the scenes for weeks. Planting bugs, stirring up drama, whispering poison. Robert snapping wasn't just about the weed or the shame. It was years of tension blowing up in one messy second. As for the rest of the village, oh, they've picked sides already. Moira, Mac, even Victoria, they all turned on Robert the second Ross spilled the beans about that weed business. And that moment, in the pub, you could feel the isolation setting in. Nobody wants to believe Robert might have had a point about John. But maybe next week changes that. Because if John really walks away from this without naming Robert, maybe it's not out of kindness. Maybe he's protecting his own secrets too. Victoria and Robert, can they ever rebuild? Now, here's the bit I'm most curious about. Victoria. This whole saga's dragged her straight back into the eye of the storm. And bless her, she's been trying to move on for years. Ever since the Lee trauma, then losing Robert to prison. It's been one knock after another. So when Robert turns up next week, suggesting they work together, literally, farming Annie's field, it feels like he's trying to go back to some sort of simpler life, where the two of them can reconnect, rebuild. But is it too late for that? Victoria's reaction is going to be everything. If she agrees, even slightly, it'll signal a massive shift. Maybe forgiveness, maybe understanding. But if she pushes him away again, Robert's going to spiral. It's obvious. That man's holding on by a thread. And if his sister cuts it, well, let's just hope he's learned something this time. Still, I can't help but feel torn here. Because I do believe Robert wants to change. He just doesn't know how to live without conflict. It's like he thrives in chaos, and when there's none around, he creates it. And honestly, that's what makes him such a great character. Messy, flawed, but somehow still human. So where does that leave us? Robert's future is hanging in the balance, again. John's alive, but could flip at any moment. Aaron's caught in between. Victoria's on the edge. And the rest of the village. They'll turn whichever way the wind blows. Here's my take. I don't think this is just a one-off outburst for Robert. I think this is the start of a much deeper struggle. He's out of prison, but still trapped in the same patterns. Same anger. Same shame. What he needs isn't just a second chance. He needs someone to believe in him again. And right now, that someone might just be Aaron. Maybe even Victoria. But it won't be easy. One wrong move and he's heading straight back to prison. One right move and maybe, just maybe, he finds a new path. One that doesn't end in violence. But Emmerdale doesn't hand out happy endings easily, does it? You know, I've watched Robert for years. Cheated, lied, lashed out. But there's always been something about him. That complexity. That pain under the surface. And watching him wrestle with it again, it just reminds me why I keep tuning in. It's not the big twists or the shocks. It's those little, quiet moments. Like when he and Aaron share coffee. Or when he asks Victoria if they can start over. That's what gets you. So what do you think happens next? Will John keep quiet? Will Robert ever really change? And could this finally be the beginning of something new? Or just the same old cycle? Leave me a comment with your thoughts. I love hearing what other fans are picking up on. And if you enjoyed this chat, give it a like, subscribe for more Emmerdale spoilers, and tap that bell so you don't miss what happens next week. Thanks for watching, and as always, don't trust anyone in a soap who says they've changed, especially if they've got a spanner in their hand. See you next time.